Kristian Ramos. He's the former spokesperson for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. He joins us now live. Kristian, we appreciate you being with us. As we heard in our correspondence report there, immigration plays a huge role in this. What needs to change?
Well, let's just start where this community is today, right? Latinos in America, two-thirds of them have either been laid off or are having some sort of economic anxiety about this pandemic. In a place like New Jersey, 19% of all people in the state are Latino. They make up 30% of all patients in the state. That's an incredibly terrifying statistic. And then if you're looking at the undocumented community, our agriculture workers, right? The people who are picking the crops in this country, around half of them are said to be undocumented. They are receiving no stimulus money. They are having a very hard time getting any sort of health care right now. Those things need to be fixed. This administration needs to take this pandemic seriously and start investing in more testing for all Americans, but particularly for these frontline populations like Latinos and African Americans and undocumented people all over this country who are literally putting their life on the line as first responders, as paramedics, as doctors, as folks out in the field. All of this stuff needs to be much, much more aggressively addressed in Congress and by this president. This president doesn't seem to get it, right? We cannot possibly reopen this economy without adequate testing, without addressing these issues that are occurring for these workers who never stopped working.
So, Kristian, you're talking about what's needed to be done at the federal level. We just heard a soundbite there from California's Governor Gavin Newsom saying that he's proud to be the first state to announce a program for direct disaster assistance to those individuals. What about what's being done at the state level, or what needs to be done?
People need access to health care. People need the ability to get tested. They need to be able to know that if they're going in to get tested, that they're going to receive care regardless of their status, and that they are not going to have to worry about ICE being called or entering into any sort of deportation proceedings. That is a very real fear in this community. Never mind the fact that there are not enough tests out there, that there are not enough doctors currently
Kristian,
available
you
to this
wrote an
community.
op-ed in the Atlantic in February, in the middle of February, saying Latino support for Trump is real, and that's a problem for Democrats. It basically cited that Pew Research talking about the fact that support that Latinos have for Trump remains unchanged. Obviously, that was before the worst of the pandemic set in and the United States was at the epicenter of the outbreak. But do you expect that support to continue among Latino voters? How do you see this problem impacting support for the president in the 2020 election?
Listen, presidential campaigns are all about contrast. Right now, you have Joe Biden, who is former vice president, who knows the medical community. He understands healthcare in this country better than just about any candidate that's ever run for president. This is an opportunity to contrast that record to the Latino community with a president who has, by all accounts, bungled his fighting this terrible pandemic. And look, your question is fair, right? Will this affect Trump's polling with the Latino community? Absolutely. Absolutely. Healthcare and the economy are the two most important issues to the Latinos. He has failed miserably in combating this virus. And I go back to those numbers. Two-thirds of Latinos have either lost their jobs or are facing some sort of economic anxiety in this country. That is a disaster for any president, right? At this point, I don't see how the president takes a deep hit with the Latino community on the issue of the economy, and I don't see how any Latino who's feeling the pain right now could possibly vote for this president.
Well, Kristian, we will have to see if the opening words of that op-ed that you wrote, which I quote, it says President Donald Trump has done almost everything he can to anger Latino voters, and yet his support among this crucial portion of the electorate remains surprisingly consistent. We'll have to see if those words, in fact, do change. But Kristian Ramos, we appreciate you being with us. Thanks for that.